is Friday streaming. We are having Friday streaming, and I'm happy to be here with everybody out there. Thanks so much for all of you out there that are spending your Friday night with me. I'm going to be here answering a few of your questions, talking, interacting with you guys. This is the weekly Friday show. Usually it lasts about an hour, hour and a half. It kind of depends on where the conversation takes us, but I'm super happy to be here with you guys, and I'm super happy to be talking to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. A few housekeeping things real quick. Big shout out to my new patrons. Gabriel Dowdy, thank you so much. Thomas Judge, thank you so much for being a new patron. And Patrick Don Kaus. I believe that's how you say it. Again, horrible names, guys. But thank you so much for our new patrons. I can't do this without your support, and I love you so much. And I love every single one of you that are participating in the live stream today. And yeah, so with that said, let's get to your questions. I put the call out there, and we're going to start. Josiah Haynes. Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining me Friday night. I know Friday night's kind of busy for a lot of people, so it's good to have you guys here. Let's see what we got going on. So first question. Can I read and enjoy and understand the Final Crisis Omnibus without reading Morrison's Seven Soldiers beforehand? I'm going to be honest with you and level with you. I've never read Morrison's Seven Soldiers, so I really can't tell you. I can't give you any information on that one. As much as I would love to help you on that one, I've never read that book. I was never really huge on Morrison at that point. That was kind of when I was first really starting to discover the world that is Morrison and everything that is Morrison and what he does and how he writes and all that stuff. But Morrison's a bit of a weird writer, man. You really, typically with a lot of the Morrison stuff, you have to read everything that he puts out in a certain kind of chunk in order for it to make sense. Take, for example, his Batman run. His Batman run, I really wouldn't recommend you not read it if you haven't read like Batman R.I.P., like Batman Inc. Batman Inc., everything leads into Batman Inc. And I really wouldn't recommend you read Batman Inc. unless you've read Batman R.I.P., the other stuff that came before it. It's been so long since I've read that. I think it was like the Black Glove, all that good stuff. You know, Morrison's Batman run it's not my favorite Batman run, but it is a solid Batman run, and it's a really fun take on the character. He kind of goes back a little bit to the more fantastical and kind of goofy stuff, which is really where I think Morrison really excels, where he goes a little bit weird and a little bit out there, kind of like his Animal Man stuff. Which, side note, if you have not read Morrison's Animal Man, it's brilliant. I love Morrison's Animal Man. I think it's fantastic. And I think you guys are doing yourself a disservice if you haven't read it. Hi, Jesse. Say what? How's it going, buddy? Have I read Necronomicon? I have not. Actually, I haven't read that. Do I stream video games? No. You know what? I dabbled with the video game thing for a while, but nobody ended up watching it. My goal is to eventually get, and hence the reason why I'm doing the Patreon thing, because like I mentioned in my Patreon video, is to be able to build a better PC, and two, to get better equipment to record voiceovers. That way I could do better products and stuff like that. And I would like to eventually be doing more. I would like to do live streams on an actual like PC, not just this old Mac that I've got that I've had for about 4 or 5 years at this point. And technology moves so fast. This Mac is pretty much already outdated by a lot. Am I going to play Cyberpunk? Yes. 100%. I can't wait for Cyberpunk. I'm a huge fan of CD Projekt Red. I'm a huge fan of Witcher. I'm a huge fan of that series, and good Lord, Witcher 3. Anybody out there saw the Witcher trailer for Netflix? That looks really promising. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm super excited for that. Cyberpunk looks like right up my alley. If you guys haven't checked out Cyberpunk was a game. It was a board game before it was a video game. And it was kind of like a tabletop D&D game by, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he is awesome. The creator of Cyberpunk is really awesome. And he actually had a job in the video game industry for a long time. And then he went on to create Cyberpunk. He went on to create a few other board games and stuff like that. His son actually went on to make, it was a board game of a super popular video game series. and I'm blanking out on this as well. You got to understand, it's Friday night, and I'm burned out. It's been a long week at work. We're just kind of getting back into the swing of things, teaching and stuff. If I were to create, Peyton Brady Britton asks, if you were to create a reading guide to get into Marvel Comics, what would it be? Man, that is such a broad, that is such a broad term. Like a reading guide just for Marvel Comics. It's too broad. I would have to be able to narrow it down on character. I need to know more of what are you into? What characters do you like? Do you like Spider-Man? Do you like the X-Men? Or you're not really into the X-Men? Are you a big Venom guy? Are you a big Carnage guy? Vasco, let's see. I know I can highlight comments and put them up. Bam, there we go. Would you recommend a comic fan that doesn't have that much money to go all digital? I don't know what your budget is like, man, but yes. And I'll explain why in a second. The reason why is because Marvel and DC are putting out subscription services right now. And I've talked about this, and some people, some people like on the Omni Bros and stuff like that, they will disagree with me. That I really think the future of this industry is subscription services, which is kind of funny because Jim Lee came out this week and saying we've kind of plateaued as far as like digital comics and subscription services. So, maybe not. But for me, I think that's the route that a lot of these guys are going to have to go. It's that monthly $9.99 a month, $10.99 a month, or however it is, and you save a lot of money by going that route when you think about it. So let's go. Okay, so this week alone, let's say that you were to buy the big Marvel comics this week. Okay, Absolute Carnage was like $6-7, I think, something like that. I just automatically ordered off Comixology. I really don't even pay attention most of the time. And then you have the X-Men book. You're out about $10 right there. That's the price of a month worth of Marvel Unlimited on 2 comics, on just 2 comic books. Think about that. So you can get Marvel Unlimited. The downside being is that you're going to be behind on everything about a year. That's the downside of it. If you don't mind waiting a year and being behind that distance, then hell, you know what? Wait it out. But if you're somebody like me who you like to be caught up with everything, and because of the fact that I do this YouTube channel, I kind of have to be, as part of my side gig, to be able to have conversations with you guys and talk to you guys about all the comics and all the cool stuff that's happening in the comic book world. I kind of have to be on top of that stuff. So I have to buy it digitally every single week. And it gets pricey, man. It gets real pricey. And then on the manga side, Shonen Jump app is $2 a month. Like for $2 a month, you get every single new issue of My Hero Academia and every single back issue of My Hero Academia as well. And you get One Piece. Same deal. Every single new chapter of One Piece, you get it. And all the back issues. Tokyo Ghoul, it's ended already, but you get the entire back catalog of it. You get the entire back catalog of Dragon Ball. You get a lot of the JoJo stuff, which I know JoJo is super popular right now. For $2 a month, you cannot fucking beat that. You really can't. Or, you can go the other route and you can buy, I don't even know how exactly it is because I just do the Shonen Jump app, but I think you can buy by like chapters. I'm not even sure. But for $2 a month, you really can't beat it, man. You really can't. And then there's the DC Universe app, which, you know what? Lord knows what's happening with DC Comics and AT&T and stuff like that. Who knows? Who really knows? It makes me super nervous, especially Jim Lee's recent comments, which we're gonna get to in the Omni Bros Live Sunday show more in detail, because I haven't really looked too far into it. But it does worry me. It does worry me where DC is in right now, because it doesn't seem like AT&T and Warner Brothers really give a shit too much about the comics section of that universe. They just want the characters. They want to be able to do their Justice Leagues, their Aquamans and stuff like that, which is kind of sad. It really is kind of sad, because these characters are awesome. So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds as far as digital comics in that space for DC, but it's not looking good right now. But the DC Universe app is like, what, $7 a month, and you get a bunch of cool shows. Yeah, Swamp Thing is, it ended on a bad note, because we're not getting another season. But you get a bunch of cool shows, still got Doom Patrol, and you get a bunch of comics. The DC Universe app is better than the Marvel Unlimited app in the sense that the DC Universe app, you're only 6 months behind. Like, you get comics that are 6 months behind versus Marvel Universe, where you're paying more for technically less and you're a year behind. So if I were to have to rank them, I would go Shonen Jump because it's only $2, DC Universe, and then the Marvel Unlimited app. Let's see what else we got here. All right, already a bunch of questions. Let's dive in real quick to some of the other questions, and I promise I'll get back to you guys because some people have posted questions before. What do you think of Morrison's run on Green Lantern? It's funny that you asked that because In Stock Trades, they are the sponsor of Omnibros Live. They are sending us review copies of Morrison's hardcover Green Lantern. So I haven't started yet, but I know for a fact that Riley Moore, the omnibus collector, that was his book of the year last year. He loved Morrison's Green Lantern. He loved it. He said that was the best thing that was put out last year. So, you know, take that for what you will. Josiah Haynes, thoughts on House of X, Powers of X so far? I have been away from the kind of X-Men stuff for quite a while. It's not that I hate the X-Men. It's just it's been too confusing. There's been too much shit going on over the past few years on the X-Men stuff. And I got to be honest with you, I think this is some of the best stuff that's being put out there right now. It's fantastic, man. Especially in regards to the revelation of what's going on with Moira McTaggart, which, okay, so quick spoilers for Moira McTaggart. And here's how I'm going to let you know that I'm done with spoilers. I'm going to actually take this guy's name off of there once I finish with the spoilers. Okay, so mute it. And then if you haven't read it, if you haven't read House of X #2, you really should. So my theory is Moira McTaggart is how do I put this? She is a point in time. She is a set point in time, the character is. Because if you look at the chart that Hickman has, it's straight and then it hits. When she turns 13, that's when you start breaking all the different timelines apart. So she is a set point in time. And what that tells me is that when she goes, it is very possible that the universe, that the X-Men universe as a whole can go too. And the reason behind that is because her actions are what causes all these different ripples in different timelines. So what we're seeing is different timelines being played out throughout this single issue. And it's really fascinating and really interesting to see that stuff. Now I think House of X, which is House of 10 actually, is actually the 10th timeline centering around Moira McTaggart. That's my theory on that. But I think it's brilliant. I think it's really, really brilliant. And hence the reason why it's called House of 10. So, yeah, let's take this off the screen. Boop. Okay. Vasco, my country doesn't have a subscription service for DC, just on Marvel Unlimited and Comixology Unlimited. You still save a good amount of money, man. Let's see what else. I read Mark Waid's run on Fantastic Four, and now I want to read more Fantastic Four. What run do you suggest? I don't like Silver Age stuff too much. Oh man, spicy goodness. Dude, that is the easiest recommendation I could give you. Hickmans Run. Hickmans Run on Fantastic Four is by many comic book fans. Hickman's run on Fantastic Four is the best incarnation of Fantastic Four. It's widely regarded as one of the best modern day runs and one of the best runs on the Fantastic Four that's ever been written. And I highly recommend you do check that out. It's brilliant. Slow, a bit confusing, but brilliant nonetheless. And it's so worth your purchase. The Hickman stuff is so good as far as Fantastic Four, and I always recommend it to anybody that wants to check it out. Gabriel Dottie, would you recommend Rat Queens? I would 100% recommend Rat Queens. I think Rat Queens is fun. If you've ever played D&D, it's kind of a more violent take on Rat Queens. I think it's the fun book all the way through. There was that whole thing with the artist a few years ago, but that was kind of squashed. and the artist is no longer working on the book. But Rat Queens was a fun read. I read the first trade years and years ago, and I always meant to come back to it once a few more issues were coming out. But then I heard that they canceled the book, and then they relaunched it, and I never got around to actually checking it out. Gustavo Silva. Dude, I love Patrick as Kratos. That is great stuff. What do you think of Blacksad comic book series? Blacksad is brilliant. My friend, if you have never read Blacksad, I urge you to. I urge you to read Blacksad. Toot fucking sweet. Blacksad is one of those books that is just so beautifully well drawn. And the thing is with Blacksad is that a lot of people look at it and they see the anthropomorphic animals and they think, oh, you know, anthropomorphic animals, what is this, kind of like furry shit? No. It is so much more than that, and it's so much cooler than that. I really, and if you're into furries, you know, that's your bag. It is what it is, man. I'm not dogging you. But Blacksad is so good. It's one of the best crime noir comics that I've ever read. The animals are more of the personification of what the people, of what the creatures are inside, of what the representation of what they are inside. It's Blacksad is brilliant. It's brilliant, and the artist is great. It's beautiful. I guarantee you pick up Blacksad, and I guarantee you will love it. I can promise you that. It's fantastic. Okay, yeah, we can talk about this. Usually I kind of try to stay away from this, but I don't mind talking about this. Also, I remember you did a video on Comicsgate about a year ago. Have you read any of the resulting products, and what are your general thoughts today? All right, so here are my general thoughts on the products. I'll be honest with you, I have not read any of the Comicsgate stuff. You know, it's just not something that appeals to me. I've seen a lot of the stuff, and I'll be honest with you, none of it appeals to me, and none of it really seems like it's my bag. Not dogging anybody that's into it. You know, read what you like, whatever. I don't care. My products, my general thoughts on it today. My general thoughts are that both sides have, and somebody's going to call me up for being a fence sitter, but both sides really are at each other's throats. And it's to the point where it's fucking annoying on both sides. Let them create whatever the hell they want to create. That's fine. At the same time, the other side shouldn't harass or shouldn't pick on creators and stuff like that because they have a differing opinion. But it's twofold. It's really twofolded, and I think both sides need to kind of just lay off of each other and, you know, shut the fuck up about the whole thing for the most part. You know, you've got people out there that really are carrying this torch against both sides, and it's like, dude, I just want to read comics. I just want to read good comics. I don't care where it really comes from, you know. As long as, you know, obviously I've got certain morals and certain predilections towards people. You know, if you're out there calling certain creators and you're harassing them, then yeah, I'm not going to read your stuff because I think that's kind of a douchebag move. But at the same time, if you like proclaim that you're a Comicsgate or whatever it is, then that's your bag too. I do understand that Marvel a few years ago, they did have a very strong issue where every single book was being basically changed to fit this preconceived notion of what the modern day market would want. That just because, oh, we're going to stick a female on the front cover, or we're going to do this and really not justify it in the story, it's going to sell copies. And that's really not exactly the case. Now, we did get a lot of cool shit out of that. I love female Thor. I love Jane Foster's Thor was badass. I really dug that. But that was about the extent of most of that stuff that I really enjoyed. I fell off of Marvel hard because of that. And it wasn't because of like the whole gender swapping thing or replacing characters or anything like that. It was because they kept relaunching fucking books every single 10 issues. And it became really difficult for me to keep up with that stuff. You would go 10 issues of Thor and it would relaunch into something else. And I'm like, I'm the guy who's supposed to be telling you guys how to read this shit, and even I can't keep up with this. It gets really difficult. But also what I think has happened is, and I said this on Twitter about a year ago, I think it's peaked. I think the whole Comicsgate thing, kind of like Gamergate, it's peaked. Yes, you still have your guys out there, like Ethan Van Scriver and all that stuff, that they are raking in fist over cash every single month through their Kickstarters and stuff like that. But for the most part, the smaller guys have kind of died off, and I think a lot of people just aren't supporting that work anymore. I think it's kind of peaked, on both sides. I think, like I said, I think most people just want to read their own the shit that they like, and they have every single right to do that. If you want to support whatever you want to support, go ahead. I'm not telling you how to spend your money. Hey, Matt. Let's see. Oh, so many good questions. Oh man, this is gonna be a problem to get to everybody. All right, I'm gonna try my best, guys. I'm gonna try my best. What's your favorite comic writer? And by Josiah Haynes, and my favorite superhero. My favorite comic writer and my favorite superhero. Writer, it's a tie. Actually, I'm gonna take the cheap way out, and I'm gonna go with the tie. It's Mike Mignola, or it's Garth Ennis. That is my tie. Mike Mignola or Garth Ennis. But Jeff Lemire is getting up there. Jeff Lemire is doing some incredible fucking work over the past year, and my lord, is it impressive. Craig Stewart. I like that little picture, man. Secret Empire. Good to read. I've never read Secret Empire. Sorry. Can't tell you on that, man. I do my best to keep up with like the big events, but I can't keep up with everything. Halo Scarlett, what do you think of Scott Snyder's run on the Justice League? I read the first trade. I dug it. It was really cool. He was doing some really cool stuff, but I never got around to it. I literally have like every single issue, since I have the auto subscribe thing on like Comixology, where it's just like, oh, a new issue came out. Your build, you get the new issue. And it's just stockpiling, and I really got to stop that. And I really just got to sit down and actually read the damn thing. Eon Histon, in your 30 years of existence, what's the best piece of advice you have about life in general? Ooh, I like this. It doesn't have to be about comics, guys. It could be about anything as well. The best piece of advice that I can give about life in general is, and hear me out, as somebody who I've been very open about my manic depression and my issues and very, very rough stuff that has happened to me in life. Best advice I can give is try not to sweat the small stuff. And I mean that we put so much pressure on ourselves over things that we ultimately can't change, and we really stress on things that we really have no control over, of, oh man, what's going to happen on Monday morning, or what's going to happen on Tuesday morning, and that stuff really wears you down, and it really grinds you, man. And that's really the best advice that I could give somebody, is to love often, love your family, love the ones that are close to you, and really try not to sweat the small stuff, because as I'm about to hit 30, I'm realizing time is precious. It's very fucking precious, and you don't get it back. Time is the one thing you do not get back. So cherish every moment of it. And we live in a really crazy world. A lot of crazy shit is going on right now, and you never know what can happen. So love often. Okay, cool. Oh, Kyler Stern. Hey, Lewis, are you caught up on the saga? And so, what's your opinion on it? Man, yes, I am totally 100% caught up on Saga. I actually took the summer to catch up on everything that's Saga. And Saga's so good. It's such a gut punch. I'm not going to spoil it, because I know there's people out there that they do read the trades, or they do read the hardcovers and stuff like that. It's such a fucking gut punch. And the way it ends, the way it left off on a cliffhanger, I saw it coming for a while. I'm like, okay, you guys are really telegraphing this really hard, where this is going to go. At the same time, it still hits like a train. Still hits me right in the chest. Oh my gosh. It was painful reading that. It was really painful reading that. Let's see. Eon Histon. Have you read Goodnight Pun Pun? If so, what do you think of it? I have not. However, it is on my to-read list. It is very much on my to-read list. Craig Stewart, can you recommend me some comics from people like Red Hood, Nightwing / Robin, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America? Okay, so I have a Thor reading list already up. There's a video of that up, and I did that like 2 or 3 years ago. Captain America, the Brubaker run is must. It's the best run, largely considered to be the best run out of everybody that's written Captain America. Iron Man. Iron Man's a bit tougher because I've never, you know what? Iron Man's one of those characters where I don't have much experience reading him, so I'm sorry about that. However, there's always the classic stuff like Demon in a Bottle and the Armory Wars that you should probably check out that I've heard is really good. Red Hood. The Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth, not New 52, Rebirth. Okay, stay away from the New 52 stuff. The Rebirth stuff is really good according to Jess Bragg, and I trust his opinion. Love you, big guy. Nightwing. Nightwing, the Tom King Nightwing stuff where he's a spy is pretty cool. I like that stuff. I read some of it, and it was really, really good. I've always wanted to get around to finishing it. Noon. What do you think about the Lock and Key series? Buy. Lock and Key is a buy. Buy. 100% buy. If you haven't read Lock and Key, you are doing yourself a complete disservice by not reading Lock and Key. It is one of the best horror comics that this mind has ever read, and I've read a shit ton of horror because I love horror. But Lock and Key is brilliant, man. It's so fucking good, and you really owe it to yourself if you have not read that fantastic series. Oh my god, Lock and Key is so good. Lock and Key is easily one of the best horror comics that's been published in like the last 20 years. It's so up there. It's brilliant, and it's such a damn good horror comic that I always recommend somebody who even has an inkling of checking out Lock and Key that they check it out, man. Always. Let me get to Twitter because I know there was a Twitter question. Master HHH89, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. I just saw it. I apologize for not getting back to you sooner on that. Found you from the Dugan Deadpool review I've been reading/loving. Was wondering if you checked out the 2016 Moon Knight by Lemire. Is that worth checking out? Let me go ahead and highlight you. Once again, thank you so much for the super chat, big guy. I appreciate that so much. If I can find you over here. Oh my gosh. You're back here. You're back here somewhere. Okay. But yeah, I have not read the Jeff Lemire Moon Knight run. However, if you are looking for a Moon Knight run, it was very short. It was only about 4 or 5 issues. Warren Ellis's Moon Knight is bad fucking ass. You need to read Warren Ellis's Moon Knight. It is brilliant. It's bad fucking ass, and you will have a great time. The art on it is fantastic, dude. It's fantastic. It's kinesthetic as hell. It flows. The art on it alone is worth the purchase. If you haven't picked up the Warren Ellis stuff, it's worth the purchase alone. It's a damn shame it was only 4 issues. It really is. I've heard Jeff Lemire's run is really good as well, but goddamn, those 4 issues of Warren Ellis's Moon Knight is great comics. It's fucking great. I loved it so much, and the thing is that I wanted Warren Ellis to keep going with it. And what sucks is that he didn't get a chance to. It got canceled, man. Oh no, it didn't get canceled. He dropped off the book. There it is. Hey, I'm able to highlight it now. He left the book because he only wanted to do 4 issues on it, and it fucking sucks. I think after that it was Brian Wood, if I'm not mistaken, that continued, and then I think they had like a few different writers, and eventually Jeff Lemire took over. Ooh, getting parched. Favorite Rick Remender work by Josiah Haynes. Man, my favorite Rick Remender work. Oh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go with Uncanny X-Force, but it inches out Fear Agent. Fuck, that's tough, dude. That's really fucking tough. But yeah, Uncanny X-Force is probably my go-to as far as like if somebody says, "Hey, how do I start with Rick Remender?" I would go Uncanny X-Force and then and then Fear Agent. And if you don't like X-Men for whatever reason, then I would always point them to do Fear Agent because Fear Agent is brilliant. Fear Agent is one of those rare comics that made me cry. And I think I'm going to do a list of that. I'm going to eventually make a video out of that, like comics that made me cry when I reached the ending. It's one of those comics like Y the Last Man and things like that, where once I finished reading it, oh man, I was a mess. I was a real mess. Okay, thank you for the heartfelt advice. Love often and don't worry about what you can't fix. My new mantra. Hey, I'm glad to help, man. Side note, you pronounce my name like Owen. Oh, cool. Owen is the Irish spelling. Oh, Owen is the Irish spelling. I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I really am trying, man. Oh my God. Have you read any Band Disney French published comics? Jodorowsky's Inkle with Mobius art Metabaron series comes to mind, as well as the latest adaptation of Elric. Both are amazing. I have not, man. Those French comics, the Jodorowsky stuff, like the Inkle and all that stuff, that's like a huge black hole as far as like my reading, and it really needs to be filled. It's classic stuff for a reason, and I've always meant to go back to it and try and read it. In fact, I have. I'm pretty sure Jess gave me a hardcover edition of the Inkle, and I've had it sitting on my shelf, and I just haven't sat down with it. And I need to. He gave it to me a few years ago, and I've just never got around to it because it's tough, man. It's tough. As much as I would like for my job one day to be sitting around reading comics and making videos for you guys, I haven't reached that point yet. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll get there. That's the goal, right? Alex Coing. What are your thoughts on Scalped Book 4 and 5 getting canceled by DC? Do you think they'll come back? DC's publishing line is a bit of a mess right now. You know, they had several omnibuses get canceled. They had several absolutes get canceled a few months ago and then resolicited. Swamp Thing being the big absolute that was canceled, but thankfully it was resolicited. And we're getting that, I think, like in a few months. But they're in a weird place right now, and it's really hard to tell as far as what they're going to do, what they're going to publish and stuff like that. Not only that, but they've gotten rid of the Vertigo line. There is no more Vertigo. It's Black Label, which really sucks because when you think about Vertigo, man, it was the line back in the 90s. Like, you had a 60-issue Vertigo run. If that was on your resume, that meant you were big swinging dick back in the 90s, and you were a king in a lot of circles in comics. Because if you could do that, that means your run was quality shit. You know, the Preachers, the Sandmans. What else? There was 100 Bullets. There was Why the Last Man at one point. Vertigo. Well, Why the Last Man was Vertigo, right? Or was it Image? I always get those two mixed up. No, it was Vertigo. But man, it sucks that we don't have Vertigo anymore. It's such a fucking loss for the industry, and it's disappointing that AT&T doesn't know what AT&T and Warner Brothers just don't know what the fuck they're doing. They really don't know what they're doing with their comic book stuff, man. Oh, if the Omnibros were superheroes, what's your superpower? You know what? I'm gonna go stereotypical with this one. Flying. I've always, I don't know, I've always had like a love of flight, even though I hate going on planes. I know, crazy. But I've always thought it'd be cool to fly around, you know, kind of have that ability to just escape and to be able to go wherever you want, not be hindered by your limitations, just be able to fly wherever you want, man. You know, I've always I don't know. There's something really cool about being able to fly, and if you ever have like a really shitty day, just being able to escape all the bullshit and just going wherever you want. I think that'd be pretty cool. Do you know where you can buy physical comics online? Because right now I just buy from eBay. Okay. My question to you is, do you live in the States or do you live in Europe? Because where you live can kind of depend on how I can help you with that. You know, there's always the stereotypical Amazon, but you kind of risk Amazon to be, you know, your stuff gets really fucked up along the way, or, you know, it can get bagged up in the mail. Amazon really doesn't have the best track record as far as their packaging. You know, you get stuff up that's messed up. I'm from Scotland and the UK. Okay, man, online in Scotland and the UK. I mean, In Stock Trades has 50% off on a lot of new releases as far as hardcovers and trades and stuff like that. The thing is, you got to pay for the shipping to get it over to your side of the pond because they're mainly here in the U.S. So you're gonna pay a pretty penny for the shipping. So I don't know what that conversion will be or how much that'll be, but it's worth checking it out because their new stuff is usually up to 50% off every week when it comes out. And I think you guys have cheap graphic novels over there. I think you guys have that website. I'm not 100% sure, but check them out as well. You know, there's quite a few online retailers. I mean, the most obvious would be for you guys Amazon, but you're running the risk of it sending your books pretty beaten up. Oh, look at that. People helping out. Eon Houston. Oh, my God. I'm sorry with the name again. Owen Houston says Books Depository is your best bet. Free shipping worldwide. Same thing with everybody else. Book Depository is your best bet, and the shipping is free. There you go, man. Billis, I was watching the stream last week, and you brought up the film Good Time. I happen to own it on DVD, and I watched it the next morning. It was fucking awesome, and thanks for bringing it. I told you Good Time was good, man. I told you it was awesome, man. See? Yeah, see? A lot of people out there, they're like, oh, man, Robert Pattinson's that dude from Twilight and stuff like that. But Good Time's a good fucking film. It's got really funny scenes in it. Okay, have you seen Toy Story 4? Thoughts? It was a shame that a lot of the side characters were thrown aside, but so many great new characters were introduced. Love Forky, good ending too, sad as it was. I saw Toy Story 4. I wasn't that crazy about it. I was kind of like, eh. I didn't care for Forky. I'm going to be honest with you. I love the other side characters, though. I thought Ducky and the bear or bunny were the best thing about it. And it kind of felt like Key and Peele, that they were able to write those characters. That they were like, no, we've got our characters. Don't worry about it. We'll write our own stuff, and we'll send you what we've got. That they were given kind of free reign because some of the stuff they were saying was completely different than the tone of some of the other characters, especially the fuzz attack, which was the funniest shit. Master 89. Thank you for the Moon Knight tip. I'll check out Warren. Gonna check out Spawn 300. You know what? I am not a Spawn guy, but god damn it, if Todd isn't selling me on Spawn 300, mainly because it's a landmark issue, and I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, man. Todd McFarlane was my shit back in the day, dude. So I've always got kind of a soft spot for a lot of the Todd McFarlane stuff, even though anatomically a lot of his art makes no fucking sense, but it's still really badass and still really cool. And not only that, as a businessman, I respect the hell out of Todd McFarlane on the business side because him and the other Image founders, they had the balls to leave a secure thing and take a risk, and it paid off for them. It paid off in boatloads of cash. So anybody that's like that, and he made a business out of his creations. The toys, the comics, the merchandise and stuff. From a business perspective, I have a lot of respect for that guy. Plush Rush, yeah. Okay, cool. Connor Faria. Is the Batman Scott Snyder Omni worth the buy? The Batman Scott Snyder Omni is 100%. Yeah, man. Scott Snyder's Batman run is so good. It's so good. I love Scott Snyder's Batman run, but I know there are a lot of fans out there that really are kind of on Scott Snyder's Batman run, mainly because some of them think that he doesn't really stick the ending. And that's kind of a shame. I think he sticks the ending pretty well, and I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, 100% Scott Snyder's Batman run is great. All right, let's get into the Twitter stuff. Thomas Judge, which is a new patron. Thank you so much, Thomas. I think all I would say is don't overdo it, burnout, and please don't stop. Ooh, that's not a question. Oops. But thank you for the comment. Parker Luckenbach, what's your favorite story of meeting a comic creator? Man, okay, so I'm going to actually do two stories on this real quick. I'm going to do my favorite story about meeting a comic creator and my most disappointing story about meeting a comic creator. And Let's see. Should I do my favorite one or do my most disappointing? Which one do you guys want to hear first? I've never seen Tangled. You know that? I'm gonna put it in the chat. Which one do you want to hear first? My most favorite my most favorite moment that I've met a comic book creator, or my least and most disappointing moment. I'm kind of curious which one you guys are gonna go for. Worst. Wow. Worst right off the bat. Okay. All right. So, worst. This was about 2 to 3 years ago. And about 2 to 3 years ago, I had gone to Tampa Comic Con. And I was like, man, I'm so hyped up. I'm really going to meet some creators that I've never got a chance to meet. It's really cool. Da, 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 da. You know, and this was when Mark Waid's Daredevil run was at its peak. Like, it was at its peak. Everybody was loving Mark Waid's Daredevil run. He was really tackling the depression issue really well. And I was like, man, I kind of feel like, you know, this is really hitting home with me because of my own, you know, insecurities and my own manic depression and stuff like that I've been very open about with you guys. Hold on one second. That is, for some reason, a live stream. You know what? You do what? Oh, that was a live stream I was listening to earlier today. Anyway, so yeah. So I was, at the time, really hyped up to meet Mark Waid. So I get in line and I walk up to Mark Waid and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be really cool. And I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, you know, thank you so much for writing Daredevil. Like, you know, this means so much to me. Da, 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 da. It's really an emotional run, and it really helped me out with my depression at the time. And the guy really couldn't give two shits. Really could not give two shits. And maybe he was having an off day, or maybe he was just really didn't feel comfortable or anything like that, or maybe he was just really tired. I don't know. He was like, oh, yeah, cool, thanks. And he signed my book, and then he just gave it back to me. And I'm like, all right, thanks, man. Thanks so much. You know, I'm only kind of telling you like how much, you know, your run means to me, and like it's really special and it means a lot to me, and you're kind of just brushing it off. But all right, cool. So, you know, I don't know, you know, chalk it up to somebody who maybe just didn't give a shit that day. I don't know what happened, but I was really brokenhearted about that a little bit. And I was kind of like, really? Man, you know what they say, don't ever meet your heroes, right? But it's one of those things where Arnold Schwarzenegger tells this classic story where when he was first starting out his career and he was really blowing up, he would say that people would meet him and they would kind of leave away disappointed because of the fact that they didn't get that Arnold charm, that they didn't get, you know, that really, like, you know, when you meet Arnold, you're expecting like this over the top, really cool, awesome person. And he was just really down to earth. And he, after that, when he started realizing it, every time he does like a public appearance or he meets fans or something like that, he turns on the charm 100% because he realizes that those are the guys that got him to the point where he is right now. And I've always had a shit ton of respect for Arnold because of that, because he recognizes that, you know? And I get it, we're human and stuff like that, but if you're at a con and you're meeting all these people and they're fans and they're showing you how much love and appreciation that they have for you, you know, it's kind of your job to, in a sense, you're there to meet fans. It's kind of your job, not necessarily to be super charming or anything like that, but to be like, man, these are the people that are paying for my shit. These are the people that are really buying and reading my stuff. I should be super appreciative, you know? And it's kind of disheartening when you don't get that. Did I ever meet Waid again? I have not. I've actually have not. It kind of soured me on the whole thing. I think he's a good writer. He's a very good writer. You know, unfortunately, that whole thing kind of soured me on the guy as a person. I'm able to pretty much separate the person from that. Now, my favorite one. I'm going to give you two of my favorites. My first one is Greg Capullo. Greg Capullo is that Arnold Schwarzenegger where when you meet him, he is as every bit as you would expect Greg Capullo to be online as he is in person. Like, that is Greg Capullo. He is fucking awesome to meet in person. He is such a cool and chill person, and the thing is, the line could be stretching around, and he will at least give you 5 minutes of his time. He'll give you a good amount of his time. It's not like he just signs it and brushes you off. He will actually interact with you, and he will chill with you, and he'll talk to you for a few minutes. And God damn it, I fucking love Greg Capullo because of that. He's awesome. That dude is everything you would imagine that dude being from reading his online persona on Twitter and stuff like that. That is that guy. And awesome cat. If you ever get a chance to meet Greg Capullo or go to one of his panels, do it. 100% do it. You will not be disappointed. Such a cool dude. The other one was Darwin Cook. I got to meet Darwin Cook before he passed, and he was a super chill guy, super awesome. He was doing sketches in everybody's books for free. You would bring your book up to him, and he would do a quick sketch inside of your book for free. And just awesome guy. Overall, really cool dude, and I was so disappointed to hear when he died. Let me see. I got like 40 to 47 or something like that of Secret Invasion. Is it worth getting every single issue, or can I skip some of it? I think I've addressed that. I haven't read Secret Invasion, man. I'm sorry. Wish I could help you on that, but I just haven't read it. So I don't want to give you an opinion and that you don't like it. A worst comic you've ever read? Man, I've read some bad shit. Red Hood and the Outlaws, the New 52 stuff is pretty bad. It's up there, man. Oh, man. I'm going to go with that. That's pretty bad. Does Matt Fraction's XMen run pick up right after Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men, or is there something in between there that I'm missing? I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a few issues in there between, but that's not something I know off the top of my head. That's more of a Riley and Omar question. So I can't help you there, but I am thankful for your question, man. Let's take it back to the Twitter. There were a few questions in there. Where do you read your digital comics? I get this one a lot. I mostly read my digital comics using the Comixology app. I think that's the preferred way for me to do it. It's super simple, I pre-order a comic book, and then on release day at midnight, it's already there, and I just download it to my tablet the next morning, and I've got it really right off the bat first thing in the morning while I'm sitting on the can or when I wake up and, eat my breakfast. I'm reading the new issue of Absolute Carnage or whatever that's come out, which, speaking of which, guys, my Lord, if you have not picked up Absolute Carnage and you are, you don't even got to be a Carnage or you don't even got to be a Venom fan. Man, Absolute Carnage is bad fucking ass, and you need to be reading Absolute Carnage right now. You need to be reading it right now. You don't need to know anything about Absolute Carnage. It fills you. You don't need to know about anything about the Venom run or Carnage. Everything you need to know is summed up in a paragraph and the opening pages, and they fill you in perfectly fine. And it's badass. It's so fucking good. If you're not reading Absolute Carnage, I urge you right now to go pick that up right away. I do, man. New 52 Superman had a pretty rotten first volume. Are you talking? Oh, yeah, that was bad. Oh, man, I thought you were talking about the Morrison stuff. No. That was a New 52 Superman. That was something else. Man, yeah, that New 52 Superman stuff was pretty terrible. DeVito. Whoa. DeVito, have you been recognized in public before? Twice, actually. Both times at a con. It's really cool when it's happened. It's only happened twice. It happened to me once at MegaCon a few years ago, and then it happened to me like 2 years ago at MegaCon as well. Both times everybody was really cool about it. Everybody was like, oh, dude, you're that guy who does like YouTube videos. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I am. Yeah. But if you do ever, like, for whatever reason, you're in Orlando, because this is my stomping grounds or whatever it is, or you're at a con or whatever that may be, and you do see me, hey, say hi. I'm actually a pretty approachable person. I really am. Just let me know off the top, right off the bat. I'm like, hey, I'm a huge fan of your YouTube videos. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I'm always down to chat with people that recognize me in public. I love that stuff, man. All right. Aggressively relaxing. Dude, I like that. I love Absolute Carnage, but when the symbiote saved Eddie, he looked like Dr. Zoidberg. And I know the exact panel that you're talking about. Yes, he did look like Dr. Zoidberg. That was good. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, he did look like Dr. Zoidberg. Holy shit. I didn't even catch that. That was good, man. Oh, man. What made me want to start this channel? All right. So there was at the time, I don't even know if they're still around, a really popular comic book podcast. And I would listen to them. I'm not going to name them because really I don't want to cause any internet drama. That's not my bag. It's not really my thing. You know, there's plenty of that going around. I'm not going to do that. There was a popular internet podcast devoted to comics, and I would listen to them, and every single episode was them shoving down shoving down my throat their politics or their beliefs or whatever it is. You know, they would get easily offended because, especially the female that was on the show, I don't even think she's on there anymore. She would just go off on tangents because she's like, oh, the female character wasn't represented this way, da 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 da. And honestly, it kind of agitated me to the point where I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do a better show than them. And that's really what made me want to start doing this channel. You know, the best things start out of spite, I guess. I don't know, but that's the God honest truth. I wish it was something more like grand or something more cooler. It was like, you know, one day I woke up and I'm like, I've got this inspiration to do this channel. No, I just want to be better than them. That's really what it was, man. That's honest bottom line. You know, it's kind of crazy. A few years later, and you know, 13,000 followers, and I want to hit 20,000 by you know, I said at the end of the year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Especially YouTube's algorithm over the past few days has been really weird. I haven't been getting the views that I normally would get. And actually, if you look on Twitter, YouTube's addressed that. Like, yeah, some of the algorithm for our views is kind of weird. So I don't know. But my next goal will be 20,000. And that's a little over 7,000, a little under 7,000 subscribers away. So it'd be cool to hit that. We'll see. New 52 is basically a continuity reboot that acts as a starting point for DC. Yes, it is. Let's go. I think I had one more Twitter question. No, that's it. I'm out of Twitter questions. You know, New 52 had so much potential when it started out. There were so many great titles and so many great books that I was really looking forward to it. I was one of those guys where every single week I was like, man, I really have never read this. Like OMAC. Do you guys remember OMAC when it first came out in New 52, how badass it was? Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., another great series. I, Vampire, another great New 52 series. But a lot of that stuff never really got off the ground, and it's a damn shame. If you're looking for a good vampire story, check out I, Vampire. You're going to see the cover of I, Vampire when you look at the trade, and you're going to think, what the fuck is this Twilight bullshit that this guy's telling me to read? The cover for I, Vampire is so misleading. It's great stuff. You do owe it to yourself to check out I, Vampire. It's good stuff, man. What is my Josiah Haynes favorite Alan Moore work and favorite Warren Ellis work? That's a tough one. All right, my favorite Alan Moore work would be, it's a toss-up between his V for Vendetta or Swamp Thing. I know everybody's going to say Watchmen. That's typically the answer that you would get when people say that's their favorite Alan Moore work. But god damn, is that Swamp Thing run so good. It's so good, man. And V for Vendetta is just another level of writing. I love V for Vendetta, and V for Vendetta is hauntingly becoming our reality the more you look into it. I mean, you know, how 1984 at the time was a cautionary tale. 1984 is becoming a reality. And, you know, not to get all crazy conspiracy nut job, tinfoil hat, Alex Jones kind of guy, but that's really where we're heading. And it's kind of scary, and it terrifies me every single day more and more, to be honest. It's horrifying stuff. The Strain is my favorite vampire comic. I read the book, the Guillermo del Toro book. I read the first volume of the first book that he put out years ago before the comic or the TV show, and I love the book. Kyler Stern. I've always meant to thank you for recommending iVampire. So thank you. It was a great read. Hey, awesome, man. I'm super happy to hear that. I'm super proud that you found something that that you like to read. This is what this channel is all about, guys. It's about helping people break into reading comics. That's the big thing, because it's not easy. It is not easy, man. One, there's a lot of things holding back people from breaking into comics. For starters, the price. Like the price to get into reading comics is insane. It's just ridiculous. A lot of people are like, yeah, I want to read comics, but it's expensive. Two, it's not easy. Some people get a little bit hesitant when they go, oh man, Immortal Hulk 26 or Immortal Hulk 22, which just came out this week. If you aren't reading Immortal Hulk, you should be. Immortal Hulk 22 just came out this week. Do I have to read all 22 issues of Immortal Hulk to understand what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, kind of, because it all builds up on each other. And it's tough for some people to get into comics. So that's the whole thing. Oh, I like this question. Best nonfiction book you've read? That's you know what? I'm gonna go with Devil in the White City. It toes the line of being fiction and nonfiction, but it centers around the Chicago World's Fair and one of the world's first serial killers, and basically how his whole house, his whole mansion was set up as a place to kill people. It's really interesting and really fascinating and really fucked up. It's a good read. I love Devil in the White City. It's really good. Have you purged all your collections completely, or do you have anything that can't bear to part with? For the most part, I've purged a lot of my stuff. I've got a few things that the Omni Bros sponsor In Stock Trades has sent me. I keep all that stuff simply because it was a sponsorship and it was a book in exchange for a review. So I keep all that stuff on my shelf. But for the most part, I've purged almost everything except for a few key things. Like I don't have the Hellboy stuff anymore. I got rid of that stuff, and I'm all digital, And that was really stuff that I really liked. Yeah, if you haven't read Devil in the White City, I really recommend you check that out. Do you put your comics on your wall or anything, or are they just in a stack so it's easy to read quick? I have IKEA shelves. I have the Calyx IKEA shelves, and that's what I use to keep my comics on there. Those are really popular in the collecting circle. Wow, LG, old school, man. That's an old video. Your Green Lantern reading order helped me a ton when getting into comics. Awesome, man. That is an old video. Jeez, I was living at my parents' house, I think, at that time when I recorded that video. I think I was just even fresh out of college, maybe. That was years and years and years ago. Man, okay, so I was with my ex for that video is at least over 6-7 years. Why did I decide to go all digital? I've touched this. I've touched on this before. The reason I decided to go all digital is mainly just convenience. It's a space issue. I woke up and I had a shit ton of books that, one, I never read, and two, they were taking up a lot of space, a whole lot of space. And I was like, okay, I'm running out of room. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. So I need to figure out what means more to me, that I have a bunch of books on my shelves that I will probably sadly never get to read, or one, the space, and two, my wallet, which at the time, actually selling a lot of those books was what actually helped me get my foot out the door of my mom's place at the time. Believe it or not, that was the big thing. That's what was able to allow me to financially be able to go, okay, I'm cool. I can afford to move out of the parents' house for a bit. You know, help me get my foot out. Oh wow, good one. Okay, favorite movie director. Director. Wow, director. All right, that's a tough one. Because I love movies. Like, I probably don't go a week without watching at least 3 or 4 films because I love films. I've always loved movies, and I've always been somebody that just absorbs every single amount of celluloid that I can absorb. But probably my favorite movie director would be a toss up between Martin Scorsese or Akira Kurosawa, mainly because Seven Samurai is my favorite film of all time. If you've never seen Seven Samurai, it's a required watch for anybody that wants to get into film or that is studying film. And Seven Samurai. Okay, so this is a film that was done, I want to say, in the 1940s. Okay, so I'm looking at it now. 1954. It was first came out in 1954, and it centers around that age-old trope where you've got a samurai who wanders into the village, and the samurai sees that these people are being tortured. They're being forced to give up all their goods and stuff like that to a group of Imperials. And they have this samurai goes around and he recruits 6 other samurai, and they are the ones that are in charge of just holding the line and saving this village while all these people come and try to destroy this village. Seven Samurai is so fucking good. It was really the first film that really took this premise, and then you've got other films, you know, like A Bug's Life or Magnificent Seven and stuff like that, where they take that premise and they do their own twist with it. But what Akira Kurosawa does with all his characters in that film is great. Every single character has their own voice. They have their own moment. You end up feeling for them. Not all the characters make it out alive of that film. A good chunk of them, when you get to the end of that film, they are gone. And it's heartbreaking when they go because you do end up falling in love with them. The film is also about 4.5 hours long. So it's long. In fact, there's a built-in intermission in the film that's about, I want to say 10 minutes, but the film is long. So if you're going to see this, you're going to spend about a good afternoon sitting down with this. But let me tell you something, man. If you've got a good 4.5 hours to kill and you want to see just a level of craftsmanship and a level of work that was just inspirational for so many directors out there, that's the film to do it. I love Seven Samurai, man. Movie recommendations for 2019. I don't know what your deal is as far as films. This has been kind of a shitty summer when you think about it. We had Endgame, and even box office reporters and movie studios are like, yeah, we really failed hard this summer. And I'll explain why, I think, in a minute. But you had Endgame that kicked off the summer in a big way, like a huge way. It broke records. It's the #1 film of all time now. And then after that, it's just been kind of a lull where you're getting these films that you're getting sequels like the Men in Black film, and you're getting all this other stuff that is just not heading the way studios have expected. You know, Lion King was pretty big. I think it's on its way to $1 billion. Aladdin, I think, crossed $1 billion as well. Like, all the Disney stuff really did well. But for the most part, the other stuff didn't do that well. But the indie stuff is really where I had the most fun. Like Midsommar. Midsommar was great. I loved Midsommar. I recognize it's not a horror film for everybody. In fact, I don't even know if I would classify it as a horror film because it's more, I don't even know, man. It's so weird. Midsommar really is an examination of religion, and if you know anything about me, religion is the thing that terrifies me the most out of anything in the world. Like, that's my bag as far as horror. That whole cult mentality and that whole blindly following things because, you know, an old text from 1,000 years ago tells you to. And, you know, by all means, if you are a Christian or whatever you want to believe, that's perfectly fine. I'm not dogging you about that. Believe whatever you want. But that 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 mindset of just blindly following what you're told really is something that's terrifying to me, and that plays into religion a lot. If you haven't guessed, yes, I am an atheist. Um, but Midsommar plays on that stuff, and it's why that film has stuck with me the entire summer. And in fact, the more I think about Midsommar, the more I really like it. Once upon a time in Hollywood. I'm a Quentin Tarantino junkie, and I loved it. I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I will never look at a can of dog food the same way again. Um, it's great. I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm trying to think of what else did I see this year that I thought was really good. Because we're starting to get all the summer films are gonna come out. Summer 2019 films. Let's see. Yeah, see, I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, most of this stuff really isn't even that good that came out this summer. It's a lot of just fluff and a lot of just junk. All right. We just got Hobbs and Shaw. I'm looking forward to Joker. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with Joker. I'm curious about that. I actually like Detective Pikachu. I thought Detective Pikachu was a fun film. That I'm a Pokemon guy. Like, I still play the Pokemon games, and I will fully admit that. I'm 30 plus years old, and I'm looking forward to Sword and Shield because I grew up with that stuff. That was my bag, And I actually liked Detective Pikachu. I didn't love it. I thought, you know what, this is good. This is really good, surprisingly enough. Did I ever catch by Lloyd Wong? Did you ever catch the Battle Angel Alita movie? My thoughts. I saw that the other night. I got the 4K of it. I dug it, man. I really, 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 really dug it. As far as Battle Angel Alita, I thought it was good. It was a lot crammed into one movie. I think that was its biggest flaw. It just felt like it was 3 or 4 movies crammed into one, where it just, okay, we're gonna hit this, we're gonna hit this, we're gonna hit this, we're gonna hit this, we're gonna hit this. We don't know if we're getting a sequel, but we kind of have to set up the sequel. So we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that. And I think that was the biggest flaw of the film. Other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Battle Angel Alita. Some of the special effects in Battle Angel Alita were gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Okay, Justin, do you have any other solid comic recommendations outside of DC and Marvel? Oh, man, funny that you asked that, because next week's video, one of the videos next week is going to be my favorite independent comics that are coming out right now. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of good stuff in that. But my favorite ones right now would be Gideon Falls. Gideon Falls is, man, oh, it's good. It's damn good. It's really good. If you like True Detective, season 1, Gideon Falls kind of has that vibe of True Detective season 1. Only it really delves deeper into the kind of cosmic horror stuff. Like, I love True Detective season 1, and season 3 was damn good as well. It was right up there, and it was just as close for me as season 1. But my biggest gripe with True Detective season 1 was that I love cosmic horror, and I was like, if they go cosmic horror with this will be my favorite show of all time. And they set it up in a way that I was like, oh man, they're going cosmic horror. Like, this is going to go all the way there. And they did it at the end. I was like, you motherfuckers. Like, you set it up to be cosmic horror. And I thought that was where you were going to go with it. And they didn't go that route. And I was like, that's kind of disappointing for me. But if you like cosmic horror and you like True Detective season 1, Gideon Falls is hands down good stuff. Lazarus by Greg Rucka is probably going to go on that list as well. Lazarus is consistently a good read. Rucka is one of my favorite writers working today, and yeah, if you haven't read Lazarus, it's brilliant. And the world building in Lazarus is second to none. It really is. The Favorite was incredible. I still haven't seen The Favorite. Lion King has already unfortunately cracked $1 billion. Man, I was so disappointed in Lion King. I mean, I knew I knew going into it what I was going to get, and even still, I was disappointed with that. Okay. I've read the first library edition of Hellboy and wasn't too impressed. Is it worth the investment, or does not liking the first one mean it's not for me? 1 a.m. here, but I never catch your lives, so I'm up. Oh, thanks, man. I'm happy to hear that you're spending time with me. As far as the library editions, if the first library edition didn't do it for you, then you know what? The reality is Hellboy might not be for you, because it's really, it gets better as it goes, but it's really just more of that. It's really kind of single 2-3 issue stories. Sometimes you get bigger stories like the Wild Hunt and, you know, all that stuff. But for the most part, it's really just more of that, with Hellboy's experiences with the supernatural. And then there's also a loose thread that ties everything together. And, you know, we saw that all tie up this past year with the ending of BPRD proper. Yeah, so, yeah. If it just wasn't for you, man, you know, no comic is for everybody, you know? Did you hear Jeff Lemire is doing a Joker book with Sorrentino and the Question Mini, both for DC's Black Label line? Yes, I did. Yes, I did, and I can't wait. Yes, please give me all the Jeff Lemire books. That is the dude right now, as far as I'm concerned. Jeff Lemire he has the Midas touch. Everything he's been touching has been turning to gold, and everything that Jeff Lemire has been doing has been just fantastic. Like I have no complaints. You could pick up any Jeff Lemire book, especially from the Black Hammer stuff, and no complaints whatsoever at all. All right, I'm gonna be on for probably another 5 minutes. I've gone for 1 hour and 12 right now, so let's go for another 5 minutes. I'm getting kind of tired. Did you hear what? Oh, what music do you like, man? I am an open book as far as music. I will listen to anything. I mean, I will listen to absolutely 110%. Anything is music wise. You could throw anything at me and I will enjoy it. You know, I'm not big on country. That's the only thing. I'm not huge on country, but I'll listen to a little bit country, you know, every once in a while. But lately, I've been really listening to a lot of Johnny Cash. I don't know what it is, but I've been really going through a lot of Johnny Cash's discography, and going back and listening to that. A lot of Fleetwood Mac lately. A lot of a lot of older stuff, and I've been going through a lot of that stuff. I've been just in a real oldies kind of mood, and yeah, I don't know why. I really can't tell you why. I go through moods where I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to listen to a little bit of hip hop right now. Yeah, I kind of want to listen to a little bit of country. Maybe I'll listen to some of this. You know, and keeps me young, I guess. You know. Also, a lot of Pink Floyd. A lot of Pink Floyd lately. Yeah. When is Joker set? Because that kid who's behind a gate that he makes smile in the trailer, is rumors. Joker is set in the 80s. As far as I'm aware, Joker is taking place in the 80s, and the rumor is that kid is actually Bruce Wayne. That script for Joker, Fleetwood Mac, yes, Rumors is beautiful. Rumors is a beautiful album. In fact, the Joker script has leaked online, or at least that's what they say. Please, no spoilers in the chat, or I will just go ahead and ban you. But the Joker script apparently has leaked online, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because test screenings for the Joker have already started to come out, and it's already premiered at the International Film Festival. It's already premiered in some places, and people are saying it's great. Like, it's brilliant stuff. So I can't wait to see it, man. It's basically Taxi Driver. That's basically what it is, and it looks awesome, which really shouldn't surprise anybody, because originally Scorsese was attached to that project. Like, it was a Scorsese project, and he just didn't do it. I think he went to do The Irishman instead. You know? NF is a great rapper, like MM, but dark in a more sensitive way. Great lyrics on depression. Open book is a way to go. Most listen to Pink Floyd. I just started hearing about this guy, NF. I think he had an album that just came out a few weeks ago. I'll check him out. Vasco, I hope you're joking. I really do. Who knows? Because you're a pretty cool dude. I'm hoping you're really joking, man. Come on, don't be that guy. Can't beat Fleetwood Mac. Rumors is my individual favorite album of all time. And I was going through a breakup a few months ago, and Rumors was what got me through it. Yeah, Scorsese has still got a producing credit on Joker. Cool. Wonder if that Joker is going to be a current day Joker if they ever get to that point, making another Batman movie with Joker in it. Huh. It's all good, man. I kind of figured it was a joke. Because I've talked to you in the chat and stuff like that for a while, so I took it as kind of a joke. But you never know these days. You really don't. I really believe everybody should be reading something and make their own judgments. Listening to a review is great, is fine, but temper with your own judgment of a book. Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. A lot of people a good chunk of people, they look at what I recommend and they're like, wow, thank you so much for recommending this stuff. But also, your opinion might differ from mine. And that's the beautiful thing that we have. We have freedom of choice. We can choose if we want to listen to my opinion, or you can choose if you want to listen to somebody else's opinion on a run. You should make up your own mind. You should also look for a reviewer that really has a lot of stuff that you have in common as far as the films and the movies and things like that you enjoy. I know for me, it's two guys from Junk Food Cinema. If you guys haven't checked out Junk Food Cinema, that podcast, it's a great podcast where they go through like the junkiest movies, like the B movies and classic 80s films and stuff like that. And a lot of their opinions are run the same as mine. So I take Brian Salisbury and C. Robert Cargill's opinion. And you guys should know who C. Robert Cargill is because he wrote Doctor Strange. He does that podcast every single week. But yeah, Junk Food Cinema, man. I take those guys' opinion on film a lot. Okay, yeah. Sorry if it's getting annoying with me asking this again. Is there any really dark Marvel or DC comics you know? Man, how dark are you talking about? Because, Billis, you really should. You really should, man. They have a good amount of chemistry. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you, K Quinn. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. When it comes to older music, I love the Smiths and Michael Jackson. So as far as like dark DC and dark Marvel comics, I mean, Black Mirror has kind of like a dark ending to it. It's got a very ambiguous ending. And it's got an ending that sends shivers down my spine every time I think about it. So I would probably put Black Mirror up there. Off the top of my head, Kraven's Last Hunt is a Spider-Man story that actually kind of has a really dark ending to it. It's not a happy ending in that story. Okay, Samuel Espinoza, what do you think about the new Hellboy movie? Oh my God. Okay. So the new Hellboy movie, I don't even know how to respond to that. So the new Hellboy movie, I knew it was going to be a train wreck the minute I saw Mila Jovovich's name attached to it. And let me explain. I have nothing against her as a person. I'm sure she's a lovely, sweet person. I love Fifth Element. But she's not known for quality work. The projects she signs up to aren't known as the best projects. I have a fondness for Resident Evil 1 and 2. Like, I'll admit, I do enjoy Resident Evil 1, and I do enjoy Resident Evil 2, as crazy as that sounds. But the minute she was attached to that project, I said, oh, this thing is doomed. This thing is in the toilet real quick. And then watching it, I'm going, you know, you got some of the iconic scenes in it. You know, you got the Wild Hunt fight. You've got a whole bunch of other stuff in there. And I'm bored as shit. I don't know. It did nothing for me, man. Unfortunately, that film did nothing for me, and it was just a mess. It was totally a mess. It was edited. Just the whole thing was a giant clusterfuck, man. And then you hear about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes where David Harbour had to write his own lines, and apparently the director had an affair with somebody, and he wasn't on set for like a few weeks. And good Lord, man, it's amazing that film even got off the ground. It really is. You can listen to Junk Food Cinema on Stitcher or really any other podcasting app. That's the best place to do it. All right, so I've been on for about an hour and 21 minutes. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick shout out before we kind of close out shop, and I'll take a few more handful of questions. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been fun. I just want to do one more quick shout out for Gabriel Dottie, Thomas Judge, and Patrick Donkaus. Thank you so much for your Patreon subscriptions. They mean the world to me. I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep doing it. It means the world for you to support my content. And if you want to support my content, the Patreon link is usually found in oh man, the Patreon link is going to be found down below in the description, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. It helps. Every dollar helps, guys. And guess what? If you do decide to support me, I put everybody's name that does support me at the end of the month in a raffle, and you guys get a choice of an Amazon gift card, whoever I pull, or you get a choice of a book from mine. So you guys win anyway. So yeah, thanks so much, guys. And yeah, any other last minute questions before I peace out of here? No? 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 Okay. Quick Spider-Man movie rankings. Oh, quick Spider-Man movie rankings. Okay, first off the top of my head, Spider-Verse. I'm going to include Spider-Verse in there. After Spider-Verse, I'm going to go Spider-Man 2. And then after Spider-Man 2, I'm going to go Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3. I think that's all of them. And then Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's my Spider-Man ranking. Did I ever watch the new Twilight Zone? Yes. The new one or the classic one? Have I ever watched the new one or the classic one? I saw the first episode of the new one. Wasn't bad. I kind of expected a little bit more. It was the one with the comedian. And I was like, okay. I thought that was okay. Wasn't bad. Any other last minute ones? Last 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to close up shop. All right, guys. Thank you so much once again for joining me on Friday night. I know your Fridays. A lot of people out there, they want to get out. They want to be busy. And they want to go do their own thing. I get it. Thanks once again. Please check out the Patreon. Support me. I love you guys. Have a good night. And look out for my videos all next week, Monday through Friday. I've already got kind of mapped out. I put the list out usually Sunday afternoon as far as what I'm going to be putting up for the week. It's going to be in the community tab. So check that out as well. And yeah, love you guys. Bye. Yeah.